everyone, how are you today? By the way, I am Kay Banyas and together with Sharmi Priholas, we will discuss about the difference between light-dependent and light-independent reactions, how are photons absorbed and utilized in the first stage of photosynthesis, the process of light reactions and Calvin cycle, and by the byproducts of light-dependent and light-independent reactions. Photosynthesis is divided up between the light-dependent and the light-independent reactions of photosynthesis. The light-dependent reactions are the reactions in which we utilize sunlight or solar energy to split water to produce adenosine triphosphate and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. The light-independent reactions are the reactions that utilize adenosine triphosphate and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate to utilize carbon fixation of carbon dioxide to create a 3-carbon sugar called glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, the precursor to glucose and other molecules. The light-dependent reactions occur in the thylakoid membrane, while the light-independent reactions occur in the stroma of the chloroplast, and both processes are necessary for photosynthesis to occur. How are photons absorbed and utilized in the first stage of photosynthesis? The overall purpose of light-dependent reactions is to convert light energy into chemical energy. This chemical energy will be used by the Calvin cycle to fuel the assembly of sugar molecules. In the first stage of photosynthesis, when a plant is exposed to light, photons of appropriate wavelength will strike and be absorbed by the pigment protein complexes arrayed on the thylakoid membranes, or the light-dependent reactions begin in a grouping of pigment molecules and proteins called a photostem. Photostems exist in the membranes of thylakoids. A pigment molecule in the photostem absorbs one photon, a quantity or packet of light energy at a time. A photon of light energy travels and reaches a molecule of chlorophyll. The photon causes an electron in the chlorophyll to become excited. The energy given to the electron allows it to break free from an atom of the chlorophyll molecule. The chlorophyll is therefore said to donate an electron.
I am Sharmi R. Frijoles on your screens again, and I'll be continuing the remaining topics in Lesson 6. So first is summarize the process of light reactions and Calvin cycle. And lastly, what are all the byproducts of light-dependent and light-independent reactions? In photosynthesis, as what we've been discussed, is on relying the stages, which are the first stage, the light reactions, and the second is Calvin cycle. In light reaction, is where solar energy or photons is converted into chemical energy such as ATP and NADPH. These rely on the steps by a series of redox reactions that occur in photosystem 2 and 1. First, electron flow with the primary electron acceptor. After that, ATP or adenosine triphosphate is the byproduct of this process due to proton gradient and ATP synthase. And then electrons will move through photosystem 1 from photosystem 2 and conversion of NADP to NADPH, or we have there a hydrogen. Thus, light reaction needs reactants such as water and light to produce the byproducts, which are oxygen, adenosine triphosphate, and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate with hydrogen. On the other hand, the Calvin cycle happens in 3 phases, which are the carbon fixation, reduction, and regeneration of ribulose. In phase 1, carbon fixation catalyzed by Rubisco that captures carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to attach with the RUBP. In phase 2, the 3 phosphoglycerate produced in phase 1 receives a phosphate from ATP and then reduced by NADPH. Then it loses phosphate to become glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then in the phase 3, in regeneration of ribulose from G3P or the what we call glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, it will go back or goes back to generate more RUBP and start the cycle again. Therefore, the Calvin cycle needs reactants such as ATP, NADPH, and carbon dioxide to produce sugars. Last but never be the least is what are all the byproducts of light-dependent and light-independent reactions. The byproducts of light-dependent and light-independent reactions in photosynthesis or in plants, based on what we've been discussed a while ago, are the oxygen, the adenosine triphosphate or the ATP, NADPH or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate with hydrogen, and our sugars.
Thank you.
Never gonna say goodbye.